Welcome to Ability MKE Now. My name is Sue Roskoff, and Ability MKE Now is a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities, and here at Ability MKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at Ability MKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. I am so happy to be bringing in my wonderful co-host this evening. First up, we will go ahead and have the lovely diva joining us, Denise Vargas. How are you today?
I am fabulous. Hello, Milwaukee, all the way from New York. I love being able to be here and can't wait to hear from our awesome guest today. He's got some interesting stuff.
Excellent. So we're going to go ahead and bring him in right away. We have Ben Rusk joining us tonight, and I am so glad to have the chance to finally talk to you myself. I know a little bit of your reputation precedes you because I know you have had some great conversations with Kurt in the recent time here. Ben, come on in. I wonder if you can go ahead and tell us a bit about what you do.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Ruscombe, coming to you live from Virginia Beach, Virginia. And what it is I do is I help people understand the value of gold and silver and to protect your wealth with what we call wealth insurance. Um, you know, so often people think that they got to keep their money in the bank, and sometimes it doesn't work out such in their favor for doing that. So we help to educate you with alternative ideas and thinking. Thank you for letting me be here today.
Awesome. So happy to have you joining us. So I know there's some interesting things that you can point us in the right direction on because there is a lot of different things that people talk about with how to handle money, how to handle wealth, how to handle that type of thing. And I know from what I've heard so far, you have a little bit of a different twist on what would be a great strategy for how to take care of that. And it's something that I think a lot of people haven't considered. So I'm excited for you to be able to share a bit more detail about what that is.
Absolutely. I'd love to. The concept starts back in high school. We all were taught how to manage a checkbook, manage a credit card, manage a checking account, but we really weren't told how to manage our wealth. And what does it mean to hold wealth? Well, it means that your money should be at work for you. It should be doing something for you, not something against you. Do you realize that holding our money in a bank today, inflation is eating our money at the rate of 1.5% a month? That means that if you hold your money in a bank for a month, you're going to lose 12%. Well, with a show of hands, I know we're on radio, but think about how much are you making in interest in a high yield savings account? Let's say at best right now, you're probably making 5% annually. That means that your money is evaporating at the rate of 7% a year just by holding your money in the bank. Oh, you want to use a credit card? You want to spend your money? Oh, well, guess what? You're going to pay some fees just to use your money to buy something you want. So your money is actually evaporating more ways than you can count. And the solution to that is to hold your wealth in a gold and silver account. You can purchase gold and silver with as little as $1 at a time with no need to budget huge amounts of money, no maximums, no minimums. Manage your money the way you would manage a checking account. And when the time comes to use that money that's stored in gold and silver, just liquidate it. Transfer the money to your bank account and spend it. I tell you, you're going to have more to spend than you have now. The purchasing power of the dollar is eroding due to inflation. You know, a dollar used to be worth, hey, you take a dollar, you can buy about 3 cents worth of goods. So think about that and think about who's holding your money. You know, in the days of the cowboys, back in the pioneering times, people held their money in their hand because they were moving from town to town on their travels across the United States. You know, when they got to the next town, they had to have something to pay for their meal, their housing, and that's why they held gold and silver because that was what was accepted at that time. Well, we've been taken off the gold standard. We've been put on the fiat currency system, and we don't hold our wealth anymore. Now we hold an IOU note, and we pass these IOUs around to other people in the country, and they accept it because they have a belief that they can turn around and use it to spend it on something else. Well, that trust is eroding at this time, and pretty soon we're going to find ourselves back on a gold and silver standard because people are going to want to hold something that's real and tangible to release their goods and services to you as a customer. So keep those things in mind when you're trying to decide where you really want to hold your wealth, especially if you've entered retirement age and you've worked 40 years to gather this life savings. Where would you like to hold it to ensure that it sticks around long enough for you to spend it? So I'll turn it over back to you and see if you have any other questions for me. But that's where we're at right now.
Awesome.
Actually,
Well, I know. Oh, go ahead, Diva.
I was just going to say, it's very interesting, Ben, that you mentioned the pioneer days because that's exactly what I was thinking. That way back in the days, that's exactly what we held in our little pouches in our hand because we were moving from place to place. So why not think of
Right.
the same concept in modern day? We've just been so
Right.
accustomed to doing it one way, but the new way isn't always the right way for everyone, right? So we need to think about what would work for
Right.
us now.
Yeah, I have a lot of
Yeah,
people
there
that
are
ask,
options.
yes. Yeah, there are. I mean, you know, but the thing is, you got to think about the options and you got to think about how tangible and real is it for you to hold it in your hands. If you're not holding your money in your possession or in your account, somebody else is holding it for you and you're trusting them to do the right thing with your money. It's time for us to get educated and learn how to do the right thing ourselves and not trust a third party who's also going to be charging you a fee for that service. And there again, you got more money leaking out of your account every month for somebody to bring a service to you. So we help people get educated so that you understand what they know and more so that you're the smartest person at the table.
And actually, that was one thing I was going to ask is what do you encounter when you talk to people about this? Because there's got to be a pretty good education piece that's involved here.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, with anything, you want to be diversified to start off. Let's just get that out of the way. So you don't want all your eggs in one basket, but you have to have enough diversity so that if the economy goes one way or another, you want to be on a seesaw, right? If something happens with this money, that what happens with the other money offsets it, right? So think of your wealth as a seesaw. You want to make sure that you understand the powers of the market. You know, when the stock market goes up, when the stock market goes down, when inflation goes up, when inflation goes down, the buying power of a dollar goes up and the buying power of a dollar goes down. The value of gold and silver goes up and the value of gold and silver goes down. I won't even get into the new wave of the cryptocurrency discussions because that's a whole nother asset and a whole nother level of education. But for most people, they understand simple. And the simple truth is holding gold and silver in your hand, gold and silver will buy what gold and silver has always bought. I tell this story. If we were back in Roman times and I was a Roman soldier, I could take an ounce of gold that I'm holding up right now and I could go and purchase sandals, a belt, a schmuck, a sword, a helmet. I probably could outfit a Roman soldier for 1 ounce of gold. Think about today's businessman. Could I outfit a businessman with 1 ounce of gold with a pair of shoes, a suit, a belt, a briefcase, and a cell phone? Yes, I can, because an ounce of gold today is $2,633 an ounce. That's more than enough to outfit a business person for them to go to work and do their job. So, what I say is gold and silver will always buy what gold and silver has always bought because it rises and falls with inflation.
I love that. And and for those of you who
Yeah.
can't see, when my eyes light up, I'll just do it for the radio. Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, to have, so me personally, this is not something that I've really put much thought into. I gotta say, having that as an option for how to handle money, it's not something that I would consider common, at least in my sphere so far. And I'm saying so far because you're right. There's definite advantages to what it offers, right? So so how do you go about the education piece? How do you reach out to people to let them know that really this is a good way to go? And what is the strategy here to spread the word on what's available?
Well, that's what I'm here to do. That's why I come to shows like this is to get the message out, right? We have seen other countries fiat currencies fail, right? No fiat currency has lasted more than 50 years. It's got a historical track record of failing after 50 years. The US dollar is on year 51. So if we think that the purchasing power is less than 3 cents on the dollar and it's going to go anywhere but down, we're on the verge of having our own US dollar collapse, and we're going to be looking at something is going to happen, whether we go back on the gold standard or a new world reserve currency is established and we switch over to that. Whatever it is that's going to happen, we know something's going to happen, right? So the sooner you can take your wealth and put it into something tangible, the Inc. magazine states that the wealthy put their money in exclusive real estate, fine art, rare coins, gold, and other usable precious metals, right? Well, I can show you a way to get four of the five very easily. And it starts with education. It starts with an outreach to me. I'm here today to encourage young people graduating from high school to think about buying 1 or 2 ounces of silver every month. Because if you do it consistently throughout your life, you're going to reach the age that I am now, and you're going to realize that that simple little act has got you sitting on a treasure chest of silver and possibly gold, depending on what you want to buy, right? You'll always be able to afford an emergency. You'll be your own bank at that point. If you need something, you buy it and you pay it back. You pay it back to yourself. Pay it back to yourself with interest, but put it into precious metals and you'll always have that cash reserve to pull on. Not only that, but think about the legacy you'll leave to your family. I'm currently building a dream of mine is to leave a legacy to my grandson, right? It's like so many years have gone by. All of the generations in my family have struggled. I've got naturalization papers showing that my great great grandfather came across and came through Ellis Island. Nobody in my family has ever left an inheritance to the next generation. So I want to be the first. And I'm going to do that with my grandson. So we got to start thinking beyond our career, our lifespan. We need to start thinking about a legacy. And it's really simple to do it if you just get committed to it and stay consistent. And that's the education we want to help people understand. People ask what to buy, where to buy, who to trust. We have educational programs that people can listen to and get a full understanding of this marketplace, this industry called gold and silver. So reach out to me and I'd be happy to put you in touch with that information.
Excellent. And actually, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
So I would recommend you go to my landing page, my website at silvergoldlegacy.com, or feel free to call me at 253-248-4000. and I would be happy to have a conversation and share that information with you.
Excellent. And for those, you should grab a pen to write that down. I'm going to say it again. Phone number for Ben is 253 248 4000. And again, that website, silvergoldlegacy.com. This I'm actually looking forward to going and checking that out myself. I haven't had a chance to go through and fully review all the things that are there. So now I'm kind of curious, the backstory. How did you get started in all of this?
All right. Well, that's the really interesting part, right? I uh I have been probably 30 years of my life I've been a gold prospector. And I've been a member of the oldest gold prospecting club in America. It was called the North American Miners Association. I give them a plug because they've been around for as long as I've been in gold and silver. And I've heard the stories. I've been out in the field. I've dug gold out of the ground. I've been a metal
Wow.
detectorist. I've been treasure hunting for years. Montana, Idaho, Washington are my stomping grounds for my mining areas. Virginia Beach is now my stomping grounds for metal detecting and finding treasures. So I thought I knew a lot about gold and silver. When I stumbled across this education, and the reason I stumbled across it was because I had worked for over 35 years to build a retirement. And when I retired early at 53, I decided that I wasn't comfortable with my money in the stock market because the concept that something could happen and I could wake up the next day and half of my retirement could be gone really disturbed me. So I had to find some place where I could land my retirement funds and they would be protected at least against inflation, if not an economic downturn. And with all the talk of recession, I just couldn't leave it in the stock market. The stock market's doing fine. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I'm just saying that for my own personal feelings and safety of my retirement years, I needed to be more tangible, backed by a more tangible object. So I did. I moved my entire retirement fund over into a gold backed IRA. And now I sleep very well, knowing that all the ounces will be there tomorrow. Doesn't matter what the value is, the ounces will be there. Right. And the price can go up and down with inflation. It doesn't bother me because until I pull it out, I still have the same amount of ounces that I put into my account, and it'll rise and fall as it needs to, and I'll be perfectly happy with that.
Excellent. Oh my, so now I'm hearing that you actually have gone mining. So I have an instant picture in my head of the good old days and things I've heard. I'm just personally curious, what does that look like in today's world of how to go about that? And you don't have to be detailed necessarily, but I am really curious, how does that work?
There's a lot of prospecting clubs all over the country. There's a national
Really?
prospecting company. Um, you can just they have each club has its own mining claims that allow you to go and look for gold on the claims, and then it's just a matter of getting educated on how to use the tools. Whether you use
Mhm.
just a pick and a shovel and a gold pan and a bucket, or if you get, you know, uh, a sluice, or you get a suction dredge and a high banker. I mean, there's all levels that you can do. I've got a mini high banker I can wear in a backpack. I can go walk out down a trail, and if I come across the stream, I could be mining right there, as long as I have the permission and permits that I need, or the approval to access the land. You always want to be aware of the laws and regulations, and that's what the mining clubs keep you appraised of. So I would suggest that everybody join a local mining club and start learning about what it's like to mine in the mountains today. But people say, well, where do you find it? That's not the question. Gold is everywhere. My favorite hobby was to go and scoop up the mole holes, the mounds, and pan that, because the moles are bringing the dirt from at least 3 or 4 feet down. They're doing all the digging for me. All I got to do is look for the gold. So that's a little tip for your listeners, and it helps the parks to clean up all those mole holes mounds, right? and just take it down to the creek and look for gold because I have found it in those piles.
Wow. Oh, that I'm sorry. I'm sitting here thinking like that sounds like so much fun. It really does, because talk about digging for buried treasure kind of a thing. The things that personally think like it's storybook kind of stuff or long, long ago. It
Right?
really is a thing to be able to do that yet today. I actually think that's really exciting. So that's
There's a lot of companies out there that actually sell what they call pay dirt, and you can buy it online and have it shipped to your house and practice with it at your home. So once you get good at finding the gold that's in the pay dirt, now you've got the confidence to go out into the wilderness and look for it again, knowing that if it's there, you're going to find it because you have the technique for extracting it. It's a lot of fun. It's a great hobby and it's good exercise too.
awesome. Okay, Diva, did you know that this is a thing?
You know, I knew a little bit about it. One thing that I do want to say, Ben, is that I do love what you said about the stock market. You just never know. A company can go public today and close out tomorrow, but gold and silver will always be there. And we
Yeah.
can find it, but it would probably be a lot of fun to find it, but it's probably a lot easier just to get it.
I'll
So
tell you, once you know how to dig it out of the ground, you never worry about being poor another day in your life.
I love that. I love that. But for those of us who maybe want to um think about getting and we know that you just mentioned that even if you just get an ounce a month, um, could you give an idea of what that ounce would be
As far
monetary?
as what? The
How much?
value?
Yeah.
You know, the other thing people need to be aware of is the thing called spot price. Spot price, you can find it online. It's the amount that the miners are paid to pull gold and silver out of the ground. That's not the price you're going to pay for it because the miners take it to the assayers give it to the smelter gives it to the mint gives it to the wholesalers, the distributors, the retailers, and then you get to buy it. And every one of them are going to put a premium on the price of a coin, right?
Mhm.
So it might be worth $30.33 today, right? But you might have to pay $39 for it
Mhm.
because everybody puts a little premium on the value of 1 ounce.
Okay.
Now, there are different denominations. There's full ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, tenth of an ounce. The smaller you go, the more you're going to pay. The more you buy, the less you're going to pay, right? So keep that in mind. And that's what our education walks you through so that you understand all these points and you get the best value for your money.
I,
There are reasons to hold a tenth of an ounce because if we go back to a gold standard, you might have to negotiate with a tenth of an ounce. A tenth of an ounce of silver right now is about $6.13, right? So, you want to know what your denominations are worth because nobody's going to cut an ounce of gold in half to pay for half of something,
right,
right? So you got to have the right amount to negotiate with. That's
right,
why they broke a dollar down into 50 cents, a quarter, 25 cents, 10 cents, a nickel, and a penny, right?
right.
Because you got to have the right amount to make change. Well, in the gold and silver industry, people don't make change. So
I
you have to settle, right? It's like,
right,
oh, I know this is worth $30 an ounce of silver. So is that loaf of bread really worth $30 to me right now? Because it's going to be a one-off exchange. So
right.
you better have the right denominations for what you want to purchase when it comes to negotiating with gold and silver.
I love that. But as you said before, even if you're paying slightly more for it, it's something that's tangible. You can hold it in your hand. You know where it is. You can look at it, and you know exactly what you have. So I love
Abs-
that.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, I want to back up for just a moment and just start it back to see if this is something that is brand new to a person, where do they start? What do they need to know to get this to be a thing that they can participate with?
Again, go to my website, silvergoldlegacy.com, get a hold of me, ask me questions. I'll answer your questions. And if we have an ability to educate you further, I will point you in the right direction. People need to think about holding their wealth. We talk about third party risk. Having your money in the stock market, you don't even own the stocks. You own the account that the stocks represent. So you're a beneficiary owner of the stocks. The broker owns the stocks. So if they go out of business and they run off with it, you're really left holding the bag, right? Because you only had access to it. You didn't have the ownership of the stock itself. You can't go to Coca-Cola and say, "Here's my stock. I'd like to cash in on it," because the broker's holding the stock. So that's called third-party risk. When you hold gold and silver in your hand, there's no third-party risk. I've got my money in my hand, right? And the question is, who's holding your money?
And that is a great question. So Dave, I want to make sure, do you have any other questions you want to be asking before we're running out of time here?
I just like that. Who's holding your money? I want to hold my money. I want nobody else holding
Uh-huh.
my money.
Absolutely. Yeah, in my short time that I've been doing this, educating people, I've helped over 600 families, get the understanding and education that they need to make a decision to put, even a portion of their wealth into gold and silver. You know, we've seen other countries where their currencies have failed, and we've seen long food lines. What are you going to do if you have no money? I usually tell people, I said, if the dollar was not valuable tomorrow, what do you have laying around the house that you could sell to feed your family? You have your sterling silver for Thanksgiving dinner. You have grandma's jewelry. Are you really ready to part with that to feed your family? Or do you have something else of value that you would rather exchange for food, to keep food on the table for your family? These are things that, the pioneers thought about, our founding fathers thought about, but we have seemed to have been led astray from thinking about gold and silver in our pocket as real money.
Oh.
Well, I really appreciate that you've had a chance here to share this with us and that you've taken the time to give us these thoughts. Because, like I said, this is not something I've put much thought into. It's not come across my brain. I haven't met the right person until you. So I'm so glad to have had this chance to be able to learn more about this. And I just want to see, Ben, do you have a short take-home message you want to share with anyone this evening?
Like I said, I thought I knew everything about gold and silver. The education that I came across was so phenomenal that it opened my eyes to things that I had never thought about before. There's a whole sideline of conversations to be had for sure. When it comes to this topic and the education, people think they're going to get overwhelmed because they know absolutely nothing about it. We have the basic information available you can digest it and understand it because it's given in layman's terms, right? You know,
And
um,
that can be found again at silvergoldlegacy.com. So silvergoldlegacy.com is a great reference for all of this. So for all of us here with Ability MKE Now, we thank you.